Now I'm in the red. Okay.
1, 2, 3. Toast. Toast.
That worked, actually. I smacked on the toast, so there we go.
Okay. So, hi, I'm Trevor.
I'm Kyle, and today Trevor will be catching up on cinema. This week we did 2015's Krampus. This is explicitly a horror comedy. I think we've touched on horror comedies in the past, but I can't think of a more appropriate horror comedy for Christmas time than Krampus.
Yeah, I mean, there aren't that many to pick from. I mean, Gremlins is the number one, and I drew a lot of parallels between these two movies, but I feel like this one has a chance of maybe carving out a niche for itself, as a holiday tradition for some families.
It was so close to being an awesome movie, in my opinion. It was just right there. It's a fun movie, but it's just not quite a great movie. So go ahead.
I was just going to say, I agree.
So do you want to go ahead and mention who directed this? I know that you are very much interested in this director.
Yeah. So in the opening credits for this movie, and the credit sequence for this film do need to be talked about.
Yes.
We'll get to that. But I happen to notice a Michael Dougherty. His name is all over the opening credits of this film. Clearly he was involved in many facets of the production. I did a little bit of research on him. He's primarily a writer, much like the fellow who did The Dark Backward. However, I think this guy's quite a bit more talented. The reason why I'm interested in him now is that preceding this film, he did a film called Trick or Treat. It was from the early 2000s. Maybe you've seen the cover of it. It has a little... it looks like one of the Little Big Planet people.
Yeah,
it's like a little bag man.
It looks like
with a knife.
Is it a kid with just a bag on his head?
Yeah.
Kind of like a miniature
It's an
stranger?
anthology film. And I've heard nothing but good things about it, and yet for some reason I haven't watched it. A sequel has been in the works for almost 2 decades now. But the reason why I'm personally excited about this guy is that he was tapped to direct the upcoming Godzilla King of the Monsters. And as you may have noticed in previous episodes, I'm a pretty big Godzilla fan, and this film, from a technical standpoint especially, impressed me in some ways. And his background as a writer makes me think that he would be good for lending some dramatic weight and some character to any projects that he comes to. Not that I'm expecting that or needing that from a Godzilla movie.
No.
But as you had mentioned, this film, I don't think this is a great film, but it was good enough that I'm not concerned. I think he can handle Godzilla just fine.
Well, your brother and I are very excited about the new Godzilla movie. You, on the other hand, are not really excited at all.
The trailers I just don't know what to make of them just yet.
I think they're doing a good job of promoting it so far. Well, let me just give the rundown of the Krampus. So real quick, Krampus, if you haven't looked it up by now, I'm assuming you have. It's from Central European folklore. I'm taking this straight from Wikipedia, and I quote: Krampus is a horned, anthropomorphic figure described as half goat, half demon, who during the Christmas season punishes children who have misbehaved. In contrast with Saint Nicholas, or Kris Kringle, is actually the German Santa Claus.
Yeah.
So in this movie, we have a little kid, little goody two shoes, who's kind of upset that his family aren't getting along, and he writes a letter to Santa, and just about to send it off to Santa, he tears it up, and this somehow summons the Krampus, and he wreaks havoc. He and his little minions wreak havoc on the family, and hilarity ensues.
Merry mishaps.
So this has Toni Collette, which this is cool because Toni Collette's in Krampus, which is a mediocre horror film, and then she goes on to do Hereditary, which is a phenomenal thriller/horror film. Adam Scott, who's not funny in this, even though he's an extremely funny guy. And then David Koechner, who is really funny. There's another. She's mostly, I think, TV. She was on 2.5 Men. She's the aunt. She's pretty funny in this. I can't think of her name right now.
The heavy-set woman. She plays the maid on 2.5 Men.
And the rest of it's kids, and then that nobody else really important.
A bunch of kids who look like somebody's, but I don't think they ever became.
Anyway, so the opening title sequence, we start on a Black Friday fiasco.
Yeah, that's what I got from it. So it's all filmed in slow motion, glorious slow motion. I love the first shot of the film. It's like a tilt down from the storefront, like the entrance, like as soon as the doors open, and like it's just a tidal wave of human beings moving in slow motion, just trampling all the employees. And I took note of the name of the store. It's called Mucho Mart.
Mucho Mart.
Yeah, well, I mean, shop smart, S smart.
Always check the news the day after Black Friday, and I checked it on Saturday, and the Times said that there was not as much Black Friday madness as there's been in recent years. Like, I think like the peak of it was probably last year. They're saying that it wasn't that big of a deal this year. Maybe more stores are like, we're not dealing with this mess, or maybe culturally we're just not approving of it as much anymore. But
well, Amazon has been kicking ass every year, but I know in the past couple years Walmart has joined the fray. They're really pushing the home delivery end of the business.
That's smart of them to do that.
So I'm guessing a lot more online orders are going through rather than doorbuster sales.
I wanted it to be cultural, but I think you're right. It just is people are buying it off the internet.
I'm sorry, Kyle. We're not quite at a Star Trek utopian world just yet, where everybody's provided for and material things are not needed.
Yeah, that's not happening.
We're not there yet, but it's funny. This whole sequence brought to mind like one of my favorite and maybe only memories of Mad Magazine. There's this gorgeous like Norman Rockwell-esque painting. It was just it was like a Far Side comic. It was a single panel comic basically, but it was gorgeous. It was full color. It was hand painted. It was like an oil painting, and it's just a single image of two cars like parked at 45-degree angles facing each other. And there's a guy laying on his back in a parking lot with snow on the ground with a hole in his chest and like blood pouring out. And there's this dad standing over him with his wife like yanking at his arm, and he has a gun pointed at him, and he just looks furious. And the caption at the bottom is "the last parking space at the mall." And I was like, that is just brilliant.
Yeah.
I should blow up that image and like put it up in my apartment because it was perfect. Like, I'm not doing it justice explaining it, but this whole montage. Oh yeah, by the way, set to it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas.
Was this Bing Crosby singing? Is this the Bing Crosby?
I don't know if it's Bing, but it has that wholesome, holiday feel to it, and the images and the sound go together very well. It creates some very like pitch black comedy because the chaos that unfolds in this story is brutal.
Yeah. And this introduces us. We see we go through this montage, then we get to it looks like a Christmas play is happening, but I think this is like going up to see Santa. Maybe is that where the fight is happening?
I think they have. Yeah, I think they. They're taking the family. The central family of the story is trying to take like a holiday photo at Santa, like the young kid on Santa's lap and the rest of the family standing behind him, and our young protagonist, I believe the character's name is Max, and the casting of this kid was just infuriating because I know he's a pretty good actor. I think he was the same kid from that Chef movie that you hate.
Oh yeah.
But I call him the Elliot or the Billy, because like if you think back to like 80s family sci-fi movies like E.T. or Gremlins, it was always like a curly-haired, like a brown-haired kid that's just like bright-eyed and bushy-tailed all the time. Think Fred Savage, basically.
He's white American. Yeah. This is good stuff. Yeah,
but he's like absurdly beautiful for a child.
I want to go.
He has the bouncy curly hair. He looks like he was manufactured in a lab.
I want to go.
He's like Zach Galligan meets Fred Savage meets that fucking kid from E.T. You just want to hit him or something.
You want to hit him because he's actually the piece of shit from Gangs in New York. You didn't know that? The kid who plays Elliot is the shitheel from Gangs in New York. His friend that betrays him.
The little friend?
Yeah, his friend
I thought that was a fake Wahlberg.
No, No.
Oh, wow.
There is that guy that looks like a Wahlberg in there, but it's not the really short guy, but like his main buddy, the one that figures out that's
I was
him.
about to say, I think that was a fake Wahlberg.
Oh, he gets his in the movie. But I wanted to mention, as far like child actors go, I just watched the Christmas Chronicles, which is the Kurt Russell Santa Claus movie on Netflix. It is really good, by the way. I really enjoyed it. He is awesome in there, like legit funny. I laughed through most of the movie. But the little girl who's in the movie, I'm guessing it's probably her first movie. She's great. She does a really good job in that movie. It's a solid Christmas movie.
No, I mean Kurt Russell can't go wrong.
When you see like, God damn it, they got you too, Kurt Russell. They got you on Netflix. But no, it was a solid movie. Highly recommend watching that. But yes, this is how we're introduced to our characters is in the mall.
Our little boy, I think the character's name is Max.
It's Max.
He gets into a scuffle with some kid with sounds like a Polish name or something. It's like Kuklinski or something.
So they go back to the house, and there's chopping of the vegetables, and there's kind of like it doesn't seem like the marriage it's not in shambles, but you can tell that there's a little bit of tension right now. Adam Scott's kind of focused on work, and Mom is kind of stressed out. I guess maybe she's just stressed out about the kid. I'm not really sure what her problem is yet. We'll figure out why she's upset. Moving on, but I wanted to mention that they're watching A Christmas Carol is playing in the background, and I think it's specifically when he's talking to Jacob Marley. And I don't think that it's supposed to like speak to the narrative. I think this is supposed to be A Christmas Carol is scary as shit. The Alistair Slim A Christmas Carol from 1951 is a scary movie if you haven't watched it. Black and white. We watch it every year with my stepmom because that's what her Scrooge was when she was a kid. Was that, and it's really scary. And I'm wondering if they put that in there to be like, this is a scary Christmas movie as well.
Could be. There's a lot of repetition, and in fact, this is like this is a huge part of the climax of the film. There's a lot of repetition of this boy Max wanting Christmas to be the way it used to be. Mm-hmm. If I remember right, the way we're introduced to this family's home, so that's Toni, Collette, Adam Scott. They have a daughter, an older daughter that's older than Max. The way we're actually introduced to the family unit is we get this really beautiful like pan across the kitchen, and it's just covered in baking supplies, like baking utensils and like cookie sheets and stuff. And the grandmother is home alone in their home, in their kitchen, like baking cookies. And if I remember right, she does have It's a Wonderful Life, or no, yeah, she has a Christmas movie on the background. And then the family comes home from the mall or whatever, and they like blow into the house, and it goes from like this very quiet, serene, very Christmassy moment to just like family drama bullshit. Yeah. And everybody's very noisy. They pay almost no mind to the grandma. And as soon as Adam Scott walks into the kitchen, he very casually, without even really thinking, changes the channel. Like he takes the traditional Christmas fare off of the television and changes it to like the breaking news.
Gotcha.
And I feel like that ties into that theme of like Christmas has changed.
Yeah.
And things are in flux. Like the marriage is in flux. The reason why the boy got into a scuffle at the mall is because somebody told him Santa isn't real.
Okay, if you're past the age of 5 and you still think the Santa's real, you're an idiot. I'm sorry. Shut it down. You need to shut it down before grade school, otherwise you're a loser. I'm sorry.
It's not so much about him believing it or not. It's more wanting to believe, I guess. Yeah. And being denied that is painful. Well, I feel like the family is kind of pushing things away from him, where it's like he's being forced to grow up in a way that's not working for him.
He's losing his Christmas boner, and they're taking it away from him. Like he's trying to keep it. So yeah, does he rip up the letter to? No. He rips up the letter.
That comes
after.
Much later.
Yeah. So the grandmother we should mention is German. Oma. Omi. Yeah. She speaks German, but she also speaks English. We'll learn.
when it matters. Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing a real Jackie Chan at the beginning of Rush Hour.
Yeah. When it's advantageous to her.
So we get basically the cousin Eddie comes into the picture.
Yeah. In my notes, that's exactly how I wrote it.
It's a real cousin Eddie situation. I think it's much worse. Toni Collette's sister, whose name is Linda, her and her husband and their three kids, one baby show up, which I think was that planned? Were they supposed to show up?
I think so, but the way they react to it, it didn't feel like it. The way Toni Collette answered the door, I got the sense that yes, she was ready for it. I actually really loved her moment. She's a very type A personality in the movie, and she keeps a very tidy home, and she's big on like trendy foods and stuff. Right when the doorbell rings, she's like fixing something up in the living room, and she just like takes a deep breath and says, "It's like it's Christmas, it's Christmas, it's Christmas." Yeah. And then she answers the door, and it's this quick cut where she's like, "Hey!"
Switches it on, yeah. And then we are introduced to David Koechner, his wife. He's obnoxious as hell. She's just trying to keep it together. She's got a whole mess of family to deal with, the wife. Two girls that are about the same age but aren't twins, I don't think.
Yeah, actually, it was kind of funny. They're not related, but one of his daughters looked really, really similar to one of Adam Scott's daughter. And I was like,
the
are
freckles.
they like actual siblings in real life? I don't think they are, but
the boy who doesn't say a word, this little fat piece of shit. Oh, by the way, these kids are husky. These are fat American. They explicitly say that these are fat American kids because the one kid's got like Mountain Dew and like beef jerky in his backpack as he walks by. Like they're saying that these kids aren't supposed to be this fat. These parents are just letting them be fat. This kid is drinking so much sugar that he is dumb. Like he can't talk. He just stands there with his mouth open and just
No, yeah. There's a great moment when they first come through the door where Max is trying to be a good host, and I called him Fat Mute Kid.
Yeah.
He's just staring face to face with Fat Mute Kid, and he keeps asking him questions about like his Christmas plans and like how he's been, and the Fat Mute Kid just stares at him and doesn't say a fucking word.
Doesn't say a word.
But yeah, Fat Mute Kid has a 2-liter of Mountain Dew at the kitchen, at the dinner table.
Ugh. Yeah, this was I said that the dinner scene is legit tense. I remember watching it, and it's a tense little back and forth. I said that Koechner's family are hardcore American. They're fat, rude, racist, dumb, and making America great again.
Well said, sir. There's a fun theme with his family that he has two husky daughters of the same age, it looks. Yeah. Then the Fat Mute Kid, and then a baby that they left in the car when they first came in. They forgot about it. The two daughters, someone says at some point that he wished he wished they were boys. And,
that's when he reads the letter.
They're both like on the school wrestling team, and you can tell like just from their appearance and the way they're dressed that they're being kind of pushed to grow up masculine, I guess.
Yeah.
And Fat Mute Kid, there's an offline of dialogue where he mentions that he's basically fattening him up with the expectation that he'll play football.
That's exactly what he said. I thought that was pretty funny.
There was a really, really good line in here, and I think there's a lot of good acting moments in this movie, a lot of good writing moments, and I think that comes from the director being a writer. I was really impressed with just this one line when David Koechner first comes into the house, and so this is after like all the circus of everybody, greeting everyone and filing into the house. He's like standing awkwardly close to Toni Collette, like making room for someone else coming in behind him, and he just says very quietly, "Let's make some memories, huh?" And like, but he says it in like a stern way where you can tell that he's not happy either.
He doesn't want to do it.
Come on, let's make the most of it. We're stuck together for the next 3 days or whatever. So it's true to life. I'm sure you've had family moments just like this. That dinner scene was a little too real at times, like you said. It's genuinely tense.
Well, they have this is like 2 odes to vacation movies. you have the cousin Eddie's coming in from Christmas vacation, but also they brought Aunt Edna from the first vacation. They brought Aunt Dorothy, who's played by, I found it, Conchata Ferrell?
Yeah, I remember because at the end of the movie we get credits with faces associated with the names.
Mm-hmm. And I guess she's just a huge downer. She's real boozy. She's pretty funny. She's one of those people that just says what's on her mind. She has no filter, and I'm sure that has not gotten better with age. I assume if you're pretty much no filter your whole life, it doesn't get any better the older you get.
Well, and she's not shy about saying she doesn't like kids, has never wanted kids, and this is skipping ahead quite a bit, but it's mentioned that it's made known that Toni Collette and her sister's mother is gone. She's dead. Yeah. So the aunt, I'm guessing, is like maybe not the best reminder of someone that they loved.
Yeah. They end up. So Max has a letter to Santa that he was going to send, and he was a bit hesitant before, but I think he was going to finish it and send it off. But his dirtbag cousin grabs a hold of it and reads it in front of the whole family, which is super embarrassing and pretty rude. He should have taken a jab at them. Well, he mentions that I wish my family would get better, and he's like, also I hope that things get better with my aunt and uncle, which... what fucking kid gives a shit about his aunt and uncle?
Well, the way he phrases it is what's hurtful for everyone in the room. Is like it's not explicitly said like monetarily, but he said, I wish things were easier for my aunt and uncle. Yes. So it's like kind of in a roundabout way saying like they're poor or like they're not doing as well as my family. So it's kind of like looking down on them, I guess. But yeah, the reading of that letter is pretty brutal because it's very pure. It's very heartfelt, but it's like sad as fuck.
Yeah, it's sad. He's embarrassed and he bolts off to his room and
I hate you all, blah blah blah. Yeah. Run up the stairs.
Well, you're all a bunch of jerks. I don't want any family. Yeah. Anyway, so he gets up there and he has a little one-on-one with Adam Scott. Adam Scott kind of is like, dude, this sucks. I'm not happy about this either. He doesn't explicitly say it, but he's just like, I know this sucks. We just gotta fucking deal with it.
Yeah. The quote I actually wrote down that I liked was family or people you try to be friends with even if you don't have a lot in common with them. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that's pretty true. But Adam Scott is a great ass dad in this movie.
He is great, and he's totally holding it together at the dinner table too. Like he does a really good job.
He gets slapped in the dick and he doesn't react badly to it. Koechner is kind of slapping him in the dick the whole time,
kind of trying to emasculate him. Yeah. Which is, that's always good when you try to emasculate family members. That's
the person who's hosting you for the next 3 days.
Fucking asshole.
Oh, yeah. By the way, during this scene, it's also mentioned that Adam Scott is an Eagle Scout. Which explains away some of the shit later in the movie. But, I think it's also worth mentioning that Cousin Eddie, David Koechner, they brought macaroni and cheese with hot dogs casserole that they insist on eating as opposed to the feast that Toni Collette made for them.
That's super rude. I don't remember if you...
That's super rude.
It's super rude. Don't do that.
I get it if you have dietary restrictions, like if you don't eat pig or something and you don't eat the pig dish, but... you don't bring a giant ass tray of macaroni and cheese and hot dogs and then eat that instead of the squab or whatever.
I think I had you watch The Goods, Don Reddy.
You did, yeah.
Which I thought was a funny movie. You weren't a big fan of, but do you remember when he goes to dinner with James Brolin's family and he's like, I'm actually one of those rare breeds that prefers takeout to a home cooked meal. And he pulls out Arby's. It's just downright rude, man. This is along those lines. If somebody's made you a dinner and you bring your own garbage food, like, you know what, I don't even want yours, I'm just going to eat my own. Like, well, what the fuck are you doing here? Like,
it's like, get the fuck out.
Jesus.
I mean, she made what? She made what? Creme brulee?
She does make creme brulee.
She made fucking creme brulee for these people.
She pulled out the torch and made creme brulee.
She did the mini torch and everything.
You asked for seconds, motherfucker.
For fuck's sake. Fun
so,
Easter egg. In Max's room, I saw a Gypsy Danger figurine.
I don't know what that is.
Pacific Rim. It's the hero robot. This is a legendary production, so that nobody got sued.
That's funny. So yeah, so Max, he's about to send his letter, and he's like, "Fuck it," and he just rips up his letter. He's just so mad.
He tosses it out the window,
and immediately it starts to snow, because he throws it out the window. No, I don't know about. I think that the Krampus was just used in German folklore to scare children into being good.
That's what I would think, because I mean, a demon fucking showing up every time people aren't in the Christmas spirit?
Yeah.
That'd be a lot of dead fucking people.
Which, by the way, is the whole premise of the Christmas Chronicles. That whole movie is just to get somebody in the Christmas spirit, which is...
I mean, if Kurt Russell rolls up and, has his swagger in Santa Claus, I'll get into the swing of things.
Oh,
shit.
There's a full scene of him singing the blues, the Christmas blues with sunglasses on.
Damn.
It's a noteworthy performance. I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. So yeah, now we're kind of grab-assing a little bit, and then someone mentions, why don't you make some hot chocolate? Hot chocolate makes everything better.
Yeah, Omi.
Yeah, and she makes hot chocolate at one point.
Yeah,
I think this is when the power's out.
Blizzard has rolled into town as a result of our Max tossing his letter to the heavens.
So yeah,
and it's knocked out all the power.
So there's a letter rip, knocked out all the power, and now there's a snowman in the yard, which is super creepy.
It looks like something out of Calvin and Hobbes, the killer deranged snow goons.
It's a little creepy. But I was gonna say, those kids are gonna lose a foot if they have any more sugar. I'm telling you, like they don't need any more hot chocolate.
Well, Adam Scott's daughter even greets them at the door with she makes some crack about diabetes.
Yeah, she's fit. She's a fit 15-year-old girl, and these two porkers weigh each one weighs twice as much as her. So the power's out, blizzard's rolling through, they got a fire going, and there's just no power. So the girl's like, hey, she wants to go smoke weed with her boyfriend, and he's like, I got power over here, and she's like, hey, let me walk over to his place. He's got power, let's see if we can figure something out. And of course Toni Collette's like, I don't think that's a good idea, and Adam Scott in true dad fashion is like, it should be fine.
Good job, Dad.
He's like, honestly, I think he's like, let's just get one less person out of here, and she's gonna start getting crabby in a minute. So let's just get her out.
He's looking ahead.
He's thinking about this.
He's got 3 days to work with here. He's playing the long game.
Yeah, and he's like, who knows? She might just stay over there for the next couple of days. Wouldn't be the worst thing. So she's walking over to her boyfriend's house, and the Krampus appears, and this reminded me of the Frighteners a little bit. I don't know about you.
I could see that the wraith, the cloak and everything. Yeah, I could see that.
We actually don't see the Krampus until the last 15 minutes of the movie.
15 minutes about, yeah.
So we're just getting kind of the outline, the silhouette of him, and he bounces from house to house, and it freaks her out. Oh, I'm sorry, we failed to mention. There's a delivery after he rips up the paper. There's a delivery of presents, and I think there's an off comment just in between David Koechner and his wife at one point where she's like, must be Democrats or something. I don't think it's this scene.
So what happens is a DHL guy shows up, the yellow and red delivery guy.
Clark W.
delivers a small
Grisman.
package, and then there's a gigantic, it looks like a stereotypical Santa's sack.
Yeah.
Sitting on the porch that he doesn't know anything about, and Toni Collette's sister answers the door, and she gets Koechner to help him bring in the bag. The DHL guy mentions, "Oh, must have been one of the guys in brown or something," as in UPS.
Yeah.
But yeah, Koechner says it must be nice to get so much free stuff. Mm-hmm. She says, she follows it up with oh, it must be a Democrat thing or something.
Must be a Democrat thing.
Kickbacks and freebies.
So she is out and about, and I think that's where the
daughter.
So the DHL guy gets it. He gets killed in his.
He gets
van.
froze to death.
Yeah.
So it needs to be said, this blizzard is storm of the century kind of shit. This is apocalyptic blizzard. This is not friendly blizzard. This is go outside, you die.
Yeah, this is not good.
And Adam Scott's daughter is walking in the middle of the street in this, and it's I would turn back even without a Krampus chasing me.
Yeah, it was. I honestly, like, between hanging out with my like piece of shit relatives I don't want to, or go get stoned with my girlfriend, I'm gonna weather that. I'm gonna.
It's worth it. Frostbite is worth it.
Yeah, I'm gonna make it. Daddy boy. So yeah, so she ends up seeing it, sees the Krampus, freaks out, and she's hiding from it underneath the van. And I have to give this movie props. I'm like, you're killing the young girl like pretty quick. It's off screen. We don't see what happens, but
it needs to be said
dies.
this is largely a bloodless film.
Oh yes, very much.
There is a body count, but it's mostly off screen, and there's no real gore or anything. But it does have an intensity level that it does get up there sometimes. But yeah, I always respect when bad things happen to kids in horror movies.
Yeah.
I think that's necessary. It's very good at setting the stakes. In fact, I was really applauding this reveal of the Krampus because he gets into the action very early. We see him head to toe, but no face, no detail basically. But he is on screen, like from head to toe. He's chasing her from a distance, like he's jumping from rooftop to rooftop in the background as she's running in the street, and we can see that he's agile. We can see that he has a big cloak of some sort that looks kind of like a Santa suit, like it has that white and like maroon kind of coloring to it. And I really love the sound that he makes.
Yes,
he sounds like chains and jingle bells.
Yeah,
and he sounds heavy.
Yeah,
like
he
sounds
very
big.
heavy.
And later we do see that he's quite large. But I love the chain sound effects because it's very intimidating, and it's
because they're heavy chains. Like you can tell the difference between a heavier chain and a lighter chain.
Yeah, but it also has that like jingle bell sound to it along with it. It's in the spirit of things, but it's eerie. And it's a good signal that it's like, oh shit, it's the Krampus.
Well, I think by having Adam Scott, David Koechner, and Conchata Farrell, you're saying that this is a comedy because those three people are very, very funny.
Yeah, they're quick. They're funny.
But when you kill the teenage daughter first thing, you're like, but this is also a horror. So this is a legit horror comedy.
Yeah, it's like we're willing to take the kids off the table at the beginning.
Oh, they do. It's actually we work through the kids. So
in fact, pretty much all the worst things that happen to people in this movie happen to the kids.
Well, that's the point too.
Well, yeah. I mean, Krampus is something probably engineered to scare young people.
Yeah. So the daughter dies, and we get more snowmen out there, and the kid is actually like, "Mom, there's snowmen out there," and she's like, "Hey, who gives a fuck? Somebody probably built them." I'm like,
That's
no,
nice,
no.
Max.
That's some scary shit. If I woke up in the morning and there was a snowman that I didn't build in my front yard, I'm like, that'd be creepy. If I woke up the next day and there were more snowmen out there, I'm like, there's some strangers shit going on. Like, people are stalking us and freaking us out.
Like, what day is the purge this year? It's like, oh shit, I forgot. They pushed it back this year.
So Koechner and Adam Scott, this is where they're like, well, we have to go find her, and maybe we'll get over to her. Well, we'll go to her boyfriend's, pick her up, and see if we can't figure something out. And this is they kind of bond here. They're like, you know what? They kind of mentioned like, yeah, this kind of sucks, but we're gonna deal with this. But they get to the DHL van. Oh, Koechner very much is all about the Second Amendment. He's got, does he have like a few guns in his car? Or
he drives a Hummer.
Oh god. Well, with those porkers, you need a Hummer.
At least a shotgun and at least a 357 or a 44 Magnum. It's a very large revolver.
Yeah, he's got guns.
Yeah, he's got guns in the trunk.
So this is kind of funny. They're getting up to the DHL van, and you notice the keys are still in the ignition. Put a pin in that. Adam Scott notices that the driver died. The driver's no longer there, and Koechner said, well, something, he must have flown right out. And Adam Scott's like, actually, he was pulled out because the window's going the other way. And they look around and they see that there are hooves, goat hoof
Oh, that's in the house.
In the house?
They find the hooves in the house.
In the house?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
Point is, they find hooves. They find tracks.
And somebody asked, what kind of goat walks on its hind legs? And I don't know if you saw the movie, but Dinner for Schmucks, have you seen that?
Yes, I have.
Do you remember when
the New Zealand guy?
Like, the one girl's like sitting there crying, and he just comes up, he like sneaks in with the goat legs.
His satyr outfit.
Jermaine Clement, oh my god.
I remember that. I didn't particularly like that movie, but it had its moments for sure.
I like Steve Carell. I like how he can make you uncomfortable with how he plays roles. Dan in real life he's really good in that.
I saw that. Yeah, that was pretty good.
But yeah, Jermaine Clement in that movie, he steals it. He's so funny.
The theme song of that movie actually is one of the like most heartwarming melodies you'll ever hear. It's derived from like a Beatles song or something, but it's like an original composition to some extent, and I would suggest listening to it. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful. Anyway, their investigation brings them into the stoner boyfriend's house, and as soon as they open the door, it is a frozen hellscape. Like it is. Everything is frozen over on the inside, and the door was barely cracked.
Norwegian
like I said,
camp,
storm of the century kind of shit.
The Norwegian camp and the Thing, basically.
No joke. In fact, this whole scene actually plays out almost identical to that, because it's them surveying the aftermath of something bad that happened. Good reference. In fact, Koechner finds a gingerbread man impaled with a knife on the fridge, and he said, whoever did this is a demented son of a bitch or something like that. But yeah, in there, it's kind of cool. They come to the living room of the house, and the fireplace, the walls are like bulging outward and like smashed. So it looks like something too big for the chimney came down the chimney. At least that's what the visuals tell us. These characters clearly don't figure it out until it's too late. But and yeah, that's where they find the hoof tracks.
So they pretty much end up back at home. They can't find the daughter.
Something important happens here.
Go for it.
Actually, the way I wrote the note is Koechner gets tremored.
Oh, I wrote that tremor too. Fuck, I forgot about that. Yeah, so, I mean, well, that's how the end of the movie, I said snow tremors. That's what basically happens.
Yeah, no, Koechner gets tremored. Yeah. So yeah, something or other. I don't think we ever actually see what it is in the entire movie.
No, we don't.
Grabs Koechner from underneath the snow and drags him around. Very reminiscent of Tremors. In fact, this whole movie made me think of Tremors.
It's got some Tremor stuff going on.
Oh yeah, a lot of it. He's like up to his neck in the snow. Adam Scott grabs hold of him and manages to yank him out, and we get. There are several transitions in this movie where something very violent or tense happens, and then we cut away from it, and then we cut back. This happens where we see Adam Scott pull out the revolver that he was given and fire it, and then we cut back to the house, and then they show up home. So it's like, oh, okay, everybody's fine. But Koechner's leg gets fucked up here.
Yeah, they explain what happened. They're like, yeah, the thing happened over there, and Großmutter, grandma, German grandma's kind of listening, and she's like, oh, fuck. All right.
Knows what's up.
So she's basically just like, let's build a fire. Let's just keep a fire going tonight, you know?
Keep the fire hot.
Keep the fire hot. But she's not explicitly telling them, like, hey, we need everybody to be watching that fucking fire to make sure it stays hot. She's not. This is her fault.
It's like, Omi, now is not the time to be vague.
You're kind of a dick, you know? Actually, I looked up how to say it in German. I'm like, how do you say in German, your grandmother is a dick? I'm not gonna repeat it here, but she's kind of a dick here. So they decide, like, for warmth and for safety, like, let's all just crash in the living room tonight. And they got a good fire going, and then we kind of cut to the fire's out.
Yeah, during this process, Adam Scott decides that they're all going to board up all the windows, because something's clearly out there. It's very dangerous out there. They've seen at least evidence of several people being dead or captured of some sort. So yeah, they decide to Night of the Living Dead their home. There's a really good line in here. Again, simple but very good delivery, where as soon as they come into the house, Koechner's like like just shouting, like barking orders and like screaming about all like horrible shit's out there. We need to get all the guns and like go out and kill everything. And Adam Scott actually like gets right up in his face and says like, Howard, not here, because the kids are like right there, and he actually like forces all the kids in the kitchen. But it's a good dad moment where it's like dad read the room and understood that it's like, I know you're scared, but it's probably not good for them to be scared too.
Well, Koechner's trying so hard to be the leader. He's just the most. Yeah. He's the most afraid, and he's just running on his emotions. And Adam Scott is much more the leader, and he has his bearings, and he's like, we need to think about this, because he's a Boy Scout. Think about
and Koechner even says, after everything's calmed down and they've decided to board everything up, like Koechner says, I just want to say sorry for thinking you're a spineless dick all these years.
So good.
I was like, that's, thanks, I guess. But it's decided that somebody needs to keep watch.
Yeah.
And Koechner decides to, again, be the alpha and say, I'll take first watch. You go be with your family. Mm-hmm. And then we get this awesome transition. This is not the first time that I've seen Koechner get this moment. I've probably mentioned this before, but Anchorman 2... he has this laugh that they cut away from, and it's the most beautiful comic timing you've ever seen. They do that with this, where he like settles in, and you can tell he's like, I'm on watch, and it's all brightly lit because the fire's going, and he's like looking out into the middle distance, like surveying the snow, and then from the same angle, just hard cut, he's just asleep and it's pitch black. It's like, that's out.
That happens more than you think. People fall asleep and watch all the time.
They failed to keep the fire hot.
So, to entice, I mean, this Krampus is smart. So, we're everybody. It's dark in there. Everybody's asleep. And
not a creature was stirring. Not even a
mouse. So this little hook, creepy hook, comes down with a little bell on it.
Yeah, it comes down the chimney.
Comes down the chimney, and it's got a gingerbread man attached to it, and it just kind of like jingling there and jingling, and the fat kid who hasn't. He's gonna have a heart attack if he doesn't eat again soon. He looks at it, doesn't even like. I think he kind of looks around the room for a second, and then he just goes straight to it. He's like, "I'm gonna eat that." Doesn't notice the hook or anything like that. He's like, "I'm gonna get that cookie." So fishing for fat kids, and whoom, he gets taken up, and he starts screaming, and everybody wakes up, and Toni Collette's character, she ends up grabbing hold of his leg, trying to keep him down. And if I'm not mistaken, a gingerbread man comes down and like punches her in the face, or just kind of distracts her. And
I
then
think
they
it punches her.
Yeah. And then they just pull the fat kid up, and she gets whacked in the head with his shoe. And they've claimed.
Yeah, it's actually a really good chaotic scene. There's a few of these in this movie, and they're all very well executed. Like without showing any like real violence or gore, the energy level's up. Like it's not scary, but it is like energetic, and like it gets your heart pounding. Again, reminded me of Tremors, because it's someone being yanked up a small tube, basically. Yeah. But yeah, there's some cool stuff going on here where like during all the chaos, some embers get kicked onto the Christmas tree. It catches fire. Max has to get a fire extinguisher, put it out. Everybody's grabbing everyone's ankles, trying to pull the fat kid down. And if I remember right, the gingerbread man like punches Toni Collette, and Koechner's the last one to try to save the fat kid. Makes sense, being as he's the one who's most emotionally attached to the fat kid.
Yeah,
that's his future linebacker or whatever, or lineman rather.
I'm gonna retire on that kid.
And the last thing he sees of the kid is the shoe drop down the chimney and bonk him on the head. And immediately he wants to go outside. He grabs his shotgun, and again, his leg is fucked up.
Yeah.
And he wants to go outside, and I think this is when we transition to the next day. This is where
Grossmutter explains what's happening, I do believe.
And we get our
the animation. Did you? Okay, so yeah, she lights the fire again, like, lets one fat kid down, we have to keep this fire going. And this is where we learn that she speaks English. So they're like, oh, great, this fucking bitch. She speaks English the whole time, of course. So she explains that, I like this anime. I don't know how you felt about that. I like this animation sequence. I thought it was kind of neat.
I really liked it. It's I think it's actually CG. I don't think it's actual stop motion.
Oh no, it's not stop motion.
It's too smooth to be actual stop motion,
it's
but
not
it
stop
is
motion.
intentionally done up to look like stop motion.
It is.
Which makes sense because, you know, those Christmas stop motion movies are implanted in everyone's memories. So this presentation kind of is reminiscent of it. I really liked it because a lot of the backgrounds, like a lot of the props, look like paper cutouts, which gives it like a stagey or like a puppet show quality. But then like the figures have an almost like Tim Burton-esque like shape to them, like with massive eyes and like muted facial expressions and stuff. Lots of good use of shadows and lights, and it's a good way to tell like a fairy tale type of story.
Yeah.
Basically, she tells a story of when she was a child and something similar to this happened. Although it's basically hinted that in Germany or wherever it was she grew up, times were tough. I'm guessing this is maybe post-war or something, or maybe at the height of some bad shit going on over there.
Yeah.
Point is, where she was growing up was a depressed economy of some sort. People were probably starving. And it was around the holidays, and people weren't very cheery, and she had emotions very similar to Max's, where she was just like, I don't understand why everyone's so awful to each other. This is supposed to be a good time of year. And basically she retells Max's story, but in her childhood, and we get this animated presentation of Krampus showing up and taking her family away from her.
Yeah.
And then giving her a bell as a reminder that, like, hey, you got everyone you know and love killed or taken away from you.
Yeah.
Have a nice life, Omi.
See ya. Yeah, again, like, I don't know how you summon the Krampus in this case. What does she do to get the Krampus to come? Does it really say?
I can't remember.
Maybe
she wrote a letter just like Max, but maybe it's just the strong emotional feelings, like of wishing your family away, I guess.
Yeah, I just, it's 51 minutes in, I think is the timestamp. Yeah, it's really neat to watch. I actually don't think it would be cooler if it was stop motion. I feel like this is actually does it, like, it keeps with the tone a little bit better. I feel like stop motion would have been a little, it might have messed with the tone a little bit, made it a bit more whimsical.
Yeah, I don't agree or disagree. I was just happy with the presentation. What they put on there was pretty nice. There's some transitions here that we didn't mention. That there's an advent calendar that marks like chapters in the story.
Oh, yes.
The first instance of it is when Max throws the letter out the window. We get 23, as in December 23rd. And after Omi's story marks 24. So we're at Christmas Eve.
Yes.
Oh yeah, Miss Farrell, Conchata Farrell, has a nice line here when everybody wakes up. I'm old enough to know when life is coming at you with his pants down. I think this is when things finally kick into high gear.
Yes.
I would not call this movie a slow burn, but in some ways it feels like it because the energy level spikes very hard in this film. Yeah. I think this is when Toni Collette's sister is feeling sentimental. I mean, her fat son just got dragged away up a chimney. She's probably a little upset, but she goes upstairs to the attic where after the fire, that's where they put all the debris, so all the burnt presents and stuff. And bear in mind, said presents include the Santa sack that nobody knew where it came from.
Yeah.
So all that stuff was moved up into the attic. She's messing around with the presents up there, and we get some hints that, like, maybe something's up with these presents. There's some noises coming from them, but she gets called away just in time so nothing bad happens. However, the kids go upstairs. The two husky daughters, they get sent upstairs because Miss Farrell, Auntie, she clogged the toilet downstairs.
Oh, gosh.
So they're forced to go upstairs towards the attic, and they hear Adam Scott's daughter's voice.
Yeah.
Which prompts them to go up into the attic. And then some really awful noises start coming from the attic, and all the adults are freaking out.
And they're like, Aunt Dorothy, where are the kids? Like, I sent them upstairs. I clogged the toilet down here. And they get up there, and I just have written down, attic scene is pretty funny. Now, is David Koechner in the attic or
No, he's in the kitchen.
He's in the kitchen. Okay,
So there's two parallel,
yes,
quote unquote, action scenes happening at the same time.
So yeah, so it turns out the parents come upstairs and there was a there must have been a Jack-in-the-Box in the bag, and we're not really sure what it is. Like we see a box, and then I guess the spring part of the Jack-in-the-Box is really, really long and huge. It almost looks like one of those play tunnels for kids.
Yeah, actually, that's what it brought to mind.
And they look down, and the Jack-in-the-Box has got a pair of legs just sticking out of its mouth, and he is eating one of the girls whole.
It's pretty savage.
Yeah, it's pretty good. But now they're freaking out. Now the toys are coming to life that are in this bag. So what we have is it looks like the angel you put on top, or like a doll, some kind of doll angel.
It's some sort of combination, because it has wings, like gnarled, like raggedy wings, but it has like a porcelain doll's face.
It looks kind of like Annabelle a little bit. And then we have the teddy bear. I feel like there was a teddy bear from Look Who's Talking 2. It's the toilet. That's what I'm thinking of. The toilet talks in there.
Yeah, that's right.
But no, I think I do remember like an evil teddy bear. Like I think it is in Look Who's Talking 2. There's an evil teddy bear. That's what it reminded me of. But the teddy bear's attacking. I think Toni, Collette, and then Linda's getting attacked by the thing in the air. There's also, I think, is there a robot?
Yeah, there's a robot.
Yes. Okay.
So the tone of this sequence is very out of touch with the rest of the movie for the most part.
Yeah.
It's a great scene. I loved it.
This is a bit more like Gremlins here.
It's explicitly Gremlins like. It's very goofy. Mm-hmm. Like intentionally so. Like far more explicitly so than any other instances in the movie, because the rest of the movie is actually trying to be emotionally affecting and actually kind of eerie and scary.
Yeah, this
scene is just stupid fun.
Yeah,
the way I noted it was explosion of violence.
Yeah. It's like The Revenant, man.
No, it is a explosion of energy and violence that just it hits and it just keeps going for like 3 minutes straight. So yeah, I'm trying to take it all in because it was a lot.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot going on in the attic, but let's talk about the gingerbread scene with David Koechner, which I think I called them gingerbread small soldiers. Now, this is where when I originally watched the movie, I'm like, really CGI gingerbread men, and they kind of have the high pitched voices. I'm like, okay, now it's just getting stupid, which is true. However, this is one of the funnier parts of the movie, is this exchange between David Koechner and the gingerbreadman. Them being caught, like he's fighting him off. They're like trying to stab him, and I think they're hitting him with a nail gun, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, most of the time they're shooting at. There's three of them.
Yeah,
the three of them are handling a nail gun, and they shoot him in the leg with it, and he falls down into the corner, and they're just tormenting this poor man. He gets like a cutting board to defend himself from the nails, and I think he does the classic action movie trope of blowing up like a candle or something on the counter that they're on.
And he sets these guys on fire, which I laughed really hard. I thought it was really funny, them screaming.
Well, they have those Mr. Bill faces. It's kind of hard not to laugh.
Oh, they're screaming. Oh, no! It's pretty scary. It's pretty funny. Yeah. But Seth Green actually voiced one of these little gingerbread men.
I could see that. I mean, he does voice acting.
He does voices. Yeah. So the final flaming gingerbread man is about to kill Koechner, and then who does the ant shoot it?
No, Rosie, the bulldog.
Oh, the bulldog gets it. Okay.
Yeah, before this.
The gun comes later, sorry.
Yeah, David Koechner's family has a bulldog, I think.
Yes.
It's like an English bulldog or something.
It's American. It's American bulldog.
American bulldog? Yeah, you would know.
Yeah.
And when he's first going into the kitchen to investigate the weird noises downstairs, he says, "Rosie, go get it," or "Rosie, go investigate." And Rosie like
yeah.
takes off running away, and he calls him. I think he calls her a useless turd.
Yeah, something like that.
So like when he's in the kitchen fighting these gingerbread men, he shoots most of them, but one of them comes at him with a knife, and he doesn't have enough room or enough ammo to handle it, and jumps at him, and then we cut to him, and it looks like he's gonna die, and then nothing happens, and he puts his hands down because he was covering his face, and then we just cut to a shot of Rosie like licking her chops.
Yeah,
it's like Rosie's redeemed. But yeah, in the meantime though, upstairs, Adam Scott's getting stabbed by a robot on his back.
Really
Toni
hard at
Collette's
that too.
getting choked with Christmas lights by this
she's
crazy
being hung.
angel thing.
Yeah.
Her sister is got a teddy bear bite in her forearm. I love when the bear enters the fray. Adam Scott like actually just shouts "Bear!" It's like you can't not laugh at that because he just looks at it and he says "Bear!" But yeah, Toni Collette's sister ends up being the hero here. She kind of like fixes everything. She takes care of most of the toys, except for the one that mattered. The Jack in the Box, because it's been trying to scurry away via air vent.
Yeah.
It looks kind of goofy. It needs to be said, all these killer toys, except for the gingerbread man, all the toys were done practically for the most part.
Yes, they were.
They're all puppets. The Jack in the Box is a man in a suit that's crawling around.
Yeah.
I think they CGI animated his eyeballs blinking. Like the
possibly.
Ewoks in the special editions.
Oh, taka. Yeah.
Did you know that, by the way?
No, I did not know that.
In like the most recent special edition versions of the Star Wars movie, they actually CGI'd the Ewoks so they blinked.
I was not aware of that.
It's stupid.
Stupid.
But yeah, the Jack in the Box scurries away when she's coming at it with a fire axe.
Stop buying Star Wars trilogy on Blu-ray. Buy one. You don't need the supplemental material. Just buy one and don't buy any more. Stop buying those. God damn it.
But no, you need the Disney streaming service so you can have it available 24/7.
I actually need the trilogy on Blu-ray because Steph has the trilogy on DVD, and it's the one where they put in the new Sidious into the old movies.
Oh, no.
Yeah. She had no idea. Because that's her first time watching the Star Wars when she was a kid was those.
Wow.
Yeah, she's like,
See,
that's always been there.
I actually
like,
take offense to that. Like,
yeah.
You replaced a performance.
My head spun when we were watching we were watching Empire Strikes Back when we get our first on screen of the Emperor.
Yeah, the hologram.
Yeah, and it's the dude from Episode 3, and she's like, "That's who it's always been." I'm like, "Are you?" I'm like, I thought I was going crazy for a second. I'm like, wait a minute, no, this is not it. She's like, yeah, this is it. I'm like, I had to show her the original clip. I'm like, no, it's a completely different thing. She's like, oh, I didn't know that.
No,
so,
I think the worst though is young Anakin at the end of Jedi.
Oh,
that's the worst.
It's the worst. I can't believe I did that. So yeah.
Anyway, back to Krampus.
They think,
needs to be said, the way the teddy bear is dispatched, not killed, just removed from the equation briefly. Toni Collette's sister breaks an icicle off and stabs it in the eye, and the framing of it and the timing of it was almost identical to Die Hard.
Die Hard 2.
Yeah,
exactly.
I was like, if that's a reference, that's a good one.
That's a good one. Yeah, if they did that.
I don't know if it explicitly is meant to be a reference, but that's what I got from it.
I feel like there's a lot of similarities. I mean, we've already mentioned like the similarities between other Christmas movies, so I wouldn't be surprised because that technically does take place at Christmas.
Oh yeah.
If he would have said, "Now I have a machine gun, ho ho ho," we would have been talking about the first one, but or.
I mean, Miss Farrell could have said that when she gets the shotgun. That would have been funny.
Or you should have heard your brother squeal when I
my
fucking neck. I love that scene. It's so good. I think might be my favorite scene of the whole movie. It's
yeah,
just
and he's
him
like
in that
mumbling
fight.
to himself about
I'll cook
catching
ya.
him, cooking him.
I'm gonna cook ya.
Cleaning him, cooking him. It's like he's like talking about going fishing or something.
Motherfucker, and he just like stops to give him a punch in the nose real
Well,
quick.
I mean, I guess it makes sense. Like emotionally, he's just like pure adrenaline at that moment.
Oh, yeah,
You're
they're
just
just-
saying. It's like Vinnie Jones putting someone's head in a car door. It's like it doesn't matter what he's saying. He's just saying stuff.
Pure anger.
Yeah.
So they stop. They go downstairs. They seem to have thwarted the attic toy monsters for a while, and they come downstairs and they regroup. And well, wouldn't you know it, they break through the ceiling, if I'm not mistaken.
So they can hear the Jack in the Box because it's trapped in the vents, but they boarded up all the entry points to the home. So the Jack in the Box is trapped in the house upstairs somewhere. They send Rosie into the vents to chase it, and again Rosie pulls through.
Yeah.
The Jack in the Box falls through the ceiling after Rosie tracks him down. And then more like just a brief moment of chaos. All the toys we saw earlier, except for the robot that Toni Collette shot.
Yeah, she got
with the revolver that Adam Scott had. So the robot's dead. The bear and the angel both show up in the living room though, and wouldn't you know it, our husky aunt got a hold of the shotgun, and without even blinking, blows away the teddy bear and the angel. But just as she's pointing the gun again at the one toy that matters, the one that has a child in its innards right now, we hear some, I think, jingling. And
yes.
Bear in mind, she has her back to the boarded up windows at this point. And she's got the shotgun, and it's pointed at the Jack in the Box. And Omi says in German, "Elves."
Elves. Yes.
And then the window explodes. And
like
we get something straight out of Jim Henson's Nightmares.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is like the Christmas Vacation, where the cops are just storming the house. They just jump through the front window.
What it brought to mind actually was An American Werewolf in London. I mean, it's not similar to it, but if you've seen that movie,
yeah,
there's that dream scene where the Nazi werewolves like burst into the home and just like slaughtered everyone and slit his throat. Just the timing of it reminded me of that, because it goes from like this relative moment of like, yeah, we got this by the ass kind of moment to like, oh my god, everything's going wrong.
Yeah, these elves are kind of creepy. This is a really chaotic scene. This is kind of like Mother.
It reminded me of Brazil. You know what I'm talking about? The baby mask, like
it's been so long since I've seen Brazil.
It's like people. It's like a shambling horde of like cloaked people wearing like these depressed baby masks, and it reminded me of that, or just any like Jim Henson movie that has like a horde of something or others coming after young people.
Yeah. Yeah, this is kind of a creepy scene. It's very chaotic. Like they're like, fuck, now it's just there's no lights, it's cold in here now, and we've got these fucking shitheels running around. They take the baby. They steal the baby just straight out of.
They take the aunt. They take the baby. There's this weird moment that again felt very Jim Henson-esque. The Jack in the Box actually like lovingly hugs one of the elves. Like it looks like a heartfelt embrace. Yeah, it's like, hey buddy, I missed you. But yeah, they like half of the cast here gets just abducted and taken right out the window.
So now we're formulating a master plan.
Master plan. This is complete and total desperation. There's no plan here.
Thinking of a master plan.
Yeah, the one plan that this family unit had that we forgot to mention. That, the keys were in the ignition, as Kyle had said. There was a snowplow that Koechner and Adam Scott had found abandoned in the middle of the street.
Yes.
So the one plan that they've had in the back of their mind the whole time is that we're going to camp out in the home, keep the fire hot for as long as we can. We did that for about 20 minutes. Good job, team.
Yeah.
The one alternative plan they had, though, was to run out to the snowplow because it's too cold to survive out exposed to the elements. So they wanted to take the snowplow and drive it to town. We're in the suburbs. Now that there's a gaping hole in the fucking house, that's their only plan. Because, fire... In fact, during this whole sequence, after all the elves have hightailed it out of there and taken half of the family with them, we keep cutting to Omi still trying to light matches. And
she's trying to light matches in there.
So she's very determined to light this fire, even though the wind is howling into the house now. It's not possible. Fire not good anymore.
No. So the plan is that they're gonna get the Hummer. Put the family.
No, Hummer's gone. Hummer got blown up.
Oh, the plan was he was gonna do the plow and they were gonna follow in the Hummer.
Hummer's gone though.
No.
When Koechner and Scott went out looking for the daughter, I think when we cut away from them is when he's got like Koechner on his shoulder because his legs.
Oh yeah, because they're like, oh fuck, the Hummer's gone.
We get an aerial shot of his Hummer just like flattened and burning.
That's right. That's right.
So Krampus doesn't like cars apparently.
So yeah, they're gonna expedite this plan, and the grandma stays behind. Like they all leave, and then she ends up shutting the door and like locking it shut, kind of like the Hateful Eight. Like, lock it, kick it open, shut it, nail it shut.
Reminded me of Dante's Peak. Grandma and her noble sacrifice.
Oh my gosh!
For no real reason. Equally fruitless.
That was funny. I laughed pretty hard at that.
Grandma, the lake is made of boiling acid.
It's boiling acid. So the family leaves. They're on foot, and Grandma stay behind. And wouldn't you know it, here comes. We finally get our Krampus.
The grand reveal of Gruß von Krampus.
I was actually it reminded me of Scrooged when Bill Murray's in the elevator with the big guy. He's like, "Hey man, not too close," and then he opens up his cloak, and it's the soles behind the ribs.
Also reminded me of the TV head specter. Yeah. I was very impressed with the design of Krampus.
I think that's part of why I wanted you to watch it. I'm like, there's some fun stuff happening in the movie, but I really like the creature design. I think it's really good.
It's an impressive practical creation because it does legitimately look like they created. I don't know if it's like a rod puppet like suspended on a man in a suit.
Yeah,
it's too large to just be a man in a suit.
Yeah,
looks like it had some help, but it's got to be like 8 feet tall, 9 feet tall. It's got a massive flowing cloak covered in chains and like bells.
I was talking with my mom over Thanksgiving, and I mentioned that I'd watched the Krampus, and it brought to mind that she had. I find that the Kris Kringle and kind of the older European illustrations of Santa Claus I find a little bit more charming than ours, the fat guy, and. This felt like one of those, like the creature was based off more of that design, but it had been smoking meth for about 50 years. Basically, is what it looked like.
No joke, yeah. The premise, I think, like in designing this creature, at least this iteration of it, was like a dark mirror version of Santa Claus.
Yes,
and yeah, it has these extraordinarily long fingers. Like think. A lot like half of Guillermo del Toro's creations.
Yeah.
Long, gnarly fingers. Yeah, like the hand-eye guy in Pan's Labyrinth.
Yeah.
Anything Doug Jones has played with.
any Doug Jones portrayal, yes.
But it has this big cloak and these massive like mountain goat horns. But under the cloak, and this is the first time we finally get to see this detail, it has a face that looks like a bearded man, but with like sideways frog eyes.
Yeah,
that's the only way I can describe it. If you know what a frog's eyes look like, the way the pupils and the irises are shaped, it looks like that, but sideways, and a permanently open gaping mouth with a long tongue. But it has like a white beard. What I got from this, and I was actually almost like expecting a reveal at the very end of the movie or something. It almost looks like a monster wearing Santa's face. Like it took someone else's face and like plastered it onto its own, because like something about the way its mouth doesn't move, it looks like it's pretending to be Santa.
Yeah, the description of like hooves and like the mouth with the kind of the tongue sticking out. That I mean, I've seen illustrations, and that's pretty demonic description. And yeah, that's a good way to put it. There's like
even the way its eyes are very deep set. Like it looked like there's something even worse underneath that, and it is a pretty horrifying image. It
is pretty creepy. So yeah, the Krampus, he comes and he does he give her the bell, or does he take back the bell, or she like hands it to him?
She presents him with the bell that she's had her whole life, apparently. Yeah. And Krampus has no reaction to this. He like strokes her across the face with one of his fingers, and then he pulls out a bag of something or other, and he opens it in front of her, and we get it's kind of a disappointing shot, actually. It's just a perspective shot of looking into the bag, and she looks horrified, and then it looks like a whole mess of evil toys jump at her.
Yeah,
I was expecting more, I guess.
We could have gotten a good neck snap here. Like, this would have been a perfect, like...
Well, what I was expecting was him to ignore her. Just be like, I already had my turn with you. Like, this, like, watching all of your extended family now get punished, this is your punishment. Again.
Kind of like in Jeepers Creepers, where the lady, like, she tries to, like, save them, and, like, she starts praying, and the Creepers dude, like, comes up and sniffs her and just goes off. Is that
that's what I was expecting, was he would just leave her to die in the snow.
See, I did not, because it was very ominous that she was staying behind. I'm like, okay, so she is going to sacrifice herself, because I mean, she's either going to freeze to... I guess she could freeze to death in the house, but I took it as...
she easily would have.
Yeah, I took it as the Krampus is going to come get her for whatever reason, or she was going to sacrifice herself to save the rest of them. But he just unceremoniously just takes her. Like, oh yeah, got you now.
He just opens his bag of goodies, and then we get a decent CGI shot of some evil toys jumping in her face.
So now, yes, snow tremors is happening.
Yeah, we get a tremors for everyone. Everybody gets tremored now.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much as soon as that window gets blown open and the elves show up, it's kind of a roller coaster. Mm-hmm. Like there's no pauses. It just kind of goes. It goes very rapidly. Yeah, one by one, all the adults get tremored.
Yeah.
Adam Scott gets a nice moment where he says "I love you" to his wife and his son. He stays behind, trying to sacrifice himself. He has the shotgun. He gets tremored anyway.
I was actually shocked that Toni Collette got it. Yeah, I was shocked that Toni Collette actually got tremored in this.
Well, the music in this sequence when they're running out to the snowplow is very effective. It has like that kind of doldrums, like purgatory feel to it. Again, the swamp of sadness or whatever. It's a never-ending story.
I know what you're talking about.
It has that, or maybe a better example is the bug hole in the Peter Jackson King Kong.
I saw it the one time, and I remember almost nothing of it.
Okay, that sequence is pretty well done. But the thing that always sticks with me is like the score and the editing in that scene is haunting, because it really feels like everybody's in hell. Where it's like they're in a very unforgiving environment where just not a single person in this situation has a chance of making it out. It really does feel like this could be the end of a movie. And that's kind of what this felt like. Is Omi sends everyone on their way. She tries in vain to sacrifice herself. Adam Scott does the same thing. Toni Collette gets unceremoniously tremored. Again, last words, "I love you." There's a lot of repetition of that. And then I think it's just one of the husky daughters and Max.
Yeah, everybody else, the one husky daughter was eaten, the baby's gone, Koechner's gone. So yeah, it's just Max and the girl, and they get to the DHL van.
No, they get to the snowplow.
They get to the snowplow. I think they try to get out on it, but it doesn't work. And then the elves come in. They basically get them. They take the girl away. Like, they just drag her away. I think does she get just taken by them, or does she get tremored? I think she gets taken away by the elves.
She gets taken away by the elves, and Max manages to defend himself with like a crowbar or something, and he's all alone.
Yeah, so now he's all by himself, and he's just kind of wandering. And does he see a light in the distance?
Yeah, he has like flashbacks to Omi talking about what happened with Krampus before, and this builds us up to the climax of the movie, the very cruel climax of the movie.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think he does see like a light in the distance, and he rolls up on Krampus has a sleigh. And I happen to write, Krampus's reindeer are very metal.
I didn't even notice the reindeer at this point.
Yeah, Krampus has some like skeletal reindeer that are like pretty fucking metal. And they're all, again, I'm pretty sure they're either actual horses with prosthetics affixed to them, or men in suits. It's all practical effects. His sleigh is also built. It's an actual set. It's all very cool to look at, and him and the elves are throwing a party while they're loading up the sleigh. I'm guessing with people in it.
Yeah.
And the kid rolls up on Krampus and tries to call him out. And
hey,
I guess
dickweed.
Dormammu, I've come to bargain.
Yeah. And they're about to throw. I think they're about to throw the one cousin into a vague fire or a pit.
The kid calls out Krampus, and Krampus opens a gate to hell.
Yeah.
a molten pit to hell, and the elves have the cousin like perched at the precipice of it, and Krampus actually marches out to go meet Max, and Max tries to tell him, I will sacrifice myself, just give me my spare my family.
Yeah.
I take me. And Krampus there's a moment where we get a close up of Krampus's his amphibious eye.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like kind of sizing up Max, and he like strokes Max on the eye because there's a tear, like a single tear streaming down, and like the score is kind of like playing with us here.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh my god, is like Krampus like, is this going to be like the traditional Christmas ending where like, oh, it was all a dream or something?
Yeah.
Or like, all is forgiven because you learn the errors of your ways. And then like the Krampus suit starts like kind of shaking a bit, and like the subtitles actually just said laughing in parentheses when I was watching this. And we cut to the elves, and they all start like giggling and pushing each other around, and even the reindeer, like they bonk heads. Again, very metal. Like they headbutt
metal.
each other like they're moshing. And then the elves throw the cousin into the molten pit. And then Krampus picks up Max and throws him into the pit.
Yeah. And then
Christmas.
And then and then Max wakes up.
Yes. And then Max wakes up.
So now we're like, okay, so Max was like, take me, but that was like the sacrifice. Is like he just needed to say, take me, and Krampus was gonna be like, okay, this kid's legit. Let's save all the rest of the family. And he comes downstairs, and like everybody's happy. There's no damage to the house. It's like nothing had happened. The grandmother's there, all the family, and they're about to open Christmas presents.
Actually, the transition from him falling into the molten pit and waking up is the Advent calendar opening to the 25th. So it's officially Christmas.
So yeah, they're about to open up presents, and he just can't believe it. And he's like, he says something like, "I can't believe you guys are alive." And they're like, "Okay."
Koechner's like, barely. Like, it was a rough night, but yeah, barely.
Oh, yeah. The
he's like
aunt's
hungover, I'm guessing.
The aunt's this like, that's one of the worst hangovers I've ever had, and she's pouring whiskey into eggnog. And he's just kind of like drinking it in, and he's just smiling, and he's just so happy, and he hugs Toni Collette, and she's like, "Oh, hey, thanks, sweetie." And they hand him a present. He gets a present, and he opens it up, and wouldn't you know it, it's the little Krampus bell from before that his grandmother had, and I guess we're to assume that the Krampus just gave this to him, like maybe this was like, okay, you saved your family. You were the sacrifice or whatever. But he jingles it, and everybody in the house kind of looks over at it, and they all look like they're like, oh, like kind of remembering what happened almost, or like maybe not even that they remember what happened, but they have this odd feeling. Yeah, everybody at once. And then do you want to tell us how it ends?
So turns out they got Saint Elsewhered. It's a very Twilight Zone-esque ending, and I liked it. So the thing to note, from the moment Max wakes up in bed and comes downstairs, from that moment, there's like soft filter on everything.
Yeah,
like,
there is.
It is explicitly dreamlike, and the behavior of everyone is a little out of character. Everyone's getting along too well, so you can tell something's up.
Yeah.
But yeah, that moment when he pulls out the bell and nobody has any strong reactions, but everybody just kind of, the room just goes silent.
Yeah.
And everybody just kind of looks towards the bell, and I think you're right. Like it kind of gives you the sense that like maybe they got fragments of memories of what happened.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, everything goes silent, and then the camera pulls back from Max and his family on the couch. And it keeps pulling back, and it keeps pulling back all the way to the outside of the house, which is snowing outside, but it's nice snow, not storm of the century blizzard, but pleasant snow. And then we keep pulling back even further, and it turns out the house is in a snow globe.
Yep.
On a shelf with many, many, many other snow globes. And it looks like we're in Krampus's workshop.
Yeah.
Or the equivalent of Krampus's workshop, I guess. So I'm guessing Max's punishment is maybe to live Christmas Day forevermore with his family. Because, I mean, what prompted Krampus to come visit him was, I wish Christmas was as it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
As in, happy Christmas with the family. So it's like, well, you asked for it. I guess you're stuck with it forever.
Yeah. That's like hell. I mean, unless it's... I mean, it could be heaven if... So one of my wishes, if I ever met a genie, one would be to be able to watch any movie for the first time, like anytime I wanted to. So if I wanted to watch Dumb and Dumber for the first time when I was... and watched it like I was 6 years old, and I could die laughing at it, like, I could just do that. So maybe... This could be kind of nice if, like, every morning was, like, Christmas morning, but you forgot that it was Christmas yesterday. So, like, each day you wake up, reset, it's Christmas. Oh, you reset. But I don't think that's what it is. I think that it's hell, and that every day he's waking up. It doesn't look like a happy place in Krampus's house, a basement. Hopefully that's not upstairs. Jeez. You think this is bad? The basement is really depressing. But yeah, it is a cool. I think it is a cool ending. Like you said, it's a very Twilight Zone ending, in that nobody wins. It's a good horror movie ending. In that,
very good horror ending.
But yeah, I don't have too much else to say about Krampus. I don't know if I'll watch this. I might watch this every other year for Christmas. I watched it this year, of course. But yeah, I enjoy the practical effects. I like the creature design of the Krampus. Good funny moments. Gingerbread burning. That's good stuff. But yeah, all in all, I give it like a 6.1, maybe a 5.8 out of 10.
I think I'd push it more towards like a 6-ish. I think what makes it special in a lot of ways is like the quality of the writing and the acting.
Mm-hmm.
It has much more attention to detail than I think would be warranted in most cases.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very much welcome. I think it adds a lot to it. And I think I could see this becoming like a go-to Christmas movie for some people, because it does have Christmas themes in it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even like the classic Christmas soundtrack, like most of the songs you hear around the holidays are in the movie. So it has that feel to it, but like the themes of like family and dealing with the in-laws and stuff like that, it's all very strong.
Mm-hmm.
Like, again, that scene, like when everybody's being tremored at the end, it is genuinely affecting, because we've come to know these characters just enough that, you know, it sucks to see them go, and you legitimately believe them when they say they love each other when they're pulled under.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very cruel movie, though.
Yes.
So I think it's for a very specific audience. You have to be you have to have a dark sense of humor and be able to stomach that kind of cruelty in order to enjoy it.
German folklore is notorious for not being sugar-coated. If you know anything about I was going to mention that I found a Halloween book that I'd read in elementary school, and I remember it being very eerie. And I had trouble remembering what the stories were, and I ended up finding it somehow. I was able to find out what the name of the book was, and I ordered it, and I showed my girlfriend the illustrations, and like, it's a creepy book. Like, this is to teach kids how to read. And one is about a girl who has a ribbon tied around her neck her whole life, and then when she dies, her husband takes off the ribbon, and her head falls off.
Yeah, I I was told that story when I was a kid. I don't remember where from, but I do know that one.
It's in a dark, dark room. There's a few like German folklore stories in there.
Okay.
The illustrator for the book, which the illustrations is what I wanted. I thought that the illustrations were really cool. German, so it was actually a German, something Zimmer. But I was like, man, no wonder that book was so creepy. It's because these are all based off of like German folklore, and they don't sugarcoat stuff. And just like the ending of this, it's very much in line with how a Krampus story would end. Is he got everybody? They were all shitty.
No, I think having the daughter die at the point in the story that they did it was meant to signal you that this is not going to be a fun story. Like, it will have fun parts to it, but it's not going to end well for these people.
Koechner's here. It's going to be fun, but it's not going to end well.
Well, and it's kind of surprising too to see a horror movie like this with so many creatures and stuff, and have our cast virtually powerless against them.
Yes, very much.
Throughout the vast majority of the film, other than like 2 or 3 of the toys and the gingerbread men, we don't even get an attempt to fight Krampus.
No.
And you get the sense that even if an attempt was made, it wouldn't have made a difference. He's like a force of nature.
Yeah, he's not to be fucked with. There's nothing you can do against him. Yeah.
No, I mean, this is a creature that has control of the elements. This is a creature who can change the weather at will to the point that it kills people when they go outside. It's like, I'm pretty sure if you took some buckshot to him, it wouldn't do much of anything.
And the snowmen, I think that the snowmen out in the yard were really creepy as well.
Oh yeah, no, the from a production design standpoint, I was very happy with a lot of elements in this movie. Like, especially like the costuming, like the creature designs and stuff. Like all those elves, those were genuinely creepy looking things, and they're very detailed. And even the opening at the store at the mall, like a lot of the set dressings and things like that had a lot of detail put into them. A lot of thought and consideration went into it. The movie has a look to it that is appealing in a lot of ways.
Well, this is actually on the IMDb's top 100 highest rated Christmas movies. I was looking for a Christmas movie to watch, and I'm like, oh, Krampus is on here. No shit. So
well, I was telling you off air that I feel like our generation in particular, like there's an allure, like a magnetism when it comes to these like non-traditional Christmas movies. Because like counterculture and hipsterism and all that stuff is so in vogue these days that it's like, it's hard to find someone in our age range who doesn't name like Die Hard as their favorite Christmas movie, which is not a Christmas movie, even though it has Christmas elements and it takes place at Christmas.
I think Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is along those same lines, but more rewatchable.
Well, Shane Black loves Christmas. Like, Shane Black finds a way to work Christmas into most of his movies. But like on that same note, like Gremlins, like I could totally see a lot of people in our age range saying that's their favorite Christmas movie. You don't see too many people naming like Miracle on 34th Street, or It's a Wonderful Life, or Christmas Carol and stuff like that. Or, I mean, put it this way: there's a Christmas Carol, and then there's a Muppet Christmas Carol. I'm pretty sure
a Muppet Christmas Carol. I just watched it for the first time.
I'm pretty sure most people in our age range would favor a Muppet Christmas Carol.
I just watched it for the first time last year.
I could totally see Krampus getting put into that category where it's like among late 20s, early 30s folks. It's like, oh, that's my favorite Christmas movie.
Mine is a hard tie between Home Alone and Scrooged.
Scrooged is a great one.
Yeah, I think that might be my favorite.
Scrooged, I think, gets underrated in some ways.
Oh, very much.
It's a solid one, though. And Home Alone also. Like, I think Home Alone's good. But, again, not non-traditional Christmas movies. And
I hate It's a Wonderful Life. I can't do it. It's awful. No, it's a good movie, but I can't watch it. It's just... I
mentioned to you off air also that I feel like Krampus was having a moment around the time this came out.
Yeah.
I can't confirm, but like me personally, I only ever heard of Krampus like in the 2010s, and I swear like there was like a South Park episode or something about him around that time, and then there was just this massive tidal wave of Krampus shit everywhere, like Krampus merch, Krampus movies.
It might have been Imagination Land. I don't know if you saw that episode of South Park. I
know of it. I haven't seen it.
They had all like movie villains, and I think Krampus might have been a part of that, if I'm not mistaken. Movie and book villains. But yeah.
But yeah, like I feel like that, like Krampus was riding a wave. Like, this was what, 2015?
Yeah, 2015.
Yeah, I feel like this was like the peak of the Krampus wave or something. Because, like I said, I was looking for a poster art for this movie to use for the website, and oh my god, there are a lot of Krampus movies that all came out within like a year or two of each other. Like asylum film kind of stuff, or Sci-Fi Channel stuff too. And then there was a movie that I think it's actually a Santa movie, but my friend tried to get me to go see it at the theater with him. I said no, unfortunately. I think it's called Foreign Exports.
I don't know that one.
It's a Scandinavian of some sort, like Finnish or something.
Really?
But it's about like an evil Santa Claus that gets like an evil Santa Claus that kills people that gets like unearthed in somewhere in Scandinavia or something, and he goes on a killing spree.
I think I'm gonna watch A Christmas Horror Story, because if you watch this on Amazon, A Christmas Horror Story is another one of those movies that pops up down there. It looks like Jack Frost is fighting Santa Claus. I don't know. It looks like a lot of fun.
You don't want to watch Bill Goldberg in a Santa's sleigh?
I almost watched that, but
that's just beautiful casting. A Jewish professional wrestler as an evil Santa Claus murdering people.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's about it for Krampus.
Yeah. I don't have much else to say. So yeah, thanks for joining us as we caught up on Krampus. Gruß von Krampus.
Krampus.
Krampus.